Hey guys, it's Max. I forgot to look at USOY, and I know Mark's going to be disappointed in my last update, but I also want to look at some YieldMax stuff. Then I also found some other stuff on the election. But anyway, let's talk stocks first. All right. USOY is not doing well today because USO is down. In fact, USO is down 2.4%. It may be one of the bigger, it may be the most down is VIX, which is why my system went back to green yesterday. But VIX and VIVIX, excuse me, are both down. But then other than that, oil's also down today. And that's, you can see USO is down 2.5, USOY is down 1.7, which is awesome. That's what we would expect. That's why we have the buffer report. That's how buffer works. We'll look at the buffer report and see if it's working. But USOY is down. Even though the spreadsheet's broken, it's not broken for USOY. I was just checking it out. Right now they have the 73 strike option sold, and that was that yellow box on the last page. But I was just checking it out, and I looked at the extrinsic and intrinsic again, and I double and triple checked, and I'm pretty good with this number. And I know that's really high too, but I've been uncomfortable with the number that my system has been outputting. But I think this numbers could be close to reality. So we'll see. But like I say, this is from Mark. I know he looks at this. This isn't working. Let's do this. Let's look at the Misty trade. I do have some good stuff on the Misty trade. So one thing I checked this morning's, I checked the website to see the positions, and right here, this 245 call and this 245 call that expires today, actually, they own those, and they don't look like they're going to go in the money, but still, at least they tried. They'll roll them out to some for next week. Maybe they'll go in the money next week. My point was, even without those call spreads going in the money, look how profitable this style of trading is. Okay, so this is the trade. They're long 1.3 million shares of MSTR. Then they sold a call, and then they bought a call behind it. Now the price would have to be above 240 to be taking advantage of the bought call this week, and they aren't. The price is not above. The price for Mr. is up. It's at 205, and it's blowing up today. I mean, it's having one hell of a day. It basically broke out. Yeah, it broke out of the Bollinger Bands, and it made this look like a fake out. Anyway, if it starts running back to the bullish side, that'd be great for Misty. Look at Misty's up 5.9%. Mister's up 6.9. That's the downside of buffer, is you don't get as much on the upside. But I was impressed with how much upside is catching. I would say that's probably 85%, something like that. All right. So let's see what else we have here to look at. Let's look at the call spread report to the extent that it's working. We have 6 that aren't working. The ones that are really benefiting from the call spreads are Coney, but it also looks like, let's do this. Coney, YBIT, Sky, OR, TSMY. These are the ones that are closest to benefiting. Let's do this. Let's look at the triple threat. Now, that's the problem, that the triple threat is powered by this. In any place you see it in the triple threat's not working. So I'm sorry about that, but to the extent that it is working, you can see pretty much what our call spread report told us, that Coney ought to be doing badass, and Coney is doing badass. I have no idea why this is happening. This is just typical of what's been going on. Obviously, MSTR is not down 6.7%. But like I say, the spreadsheet stopped working about a week ago. It just doesn't work anymore. It's so frustrating. It used to work. It just doesn't work anymore. Anyway, I'm trying to get it fixed. We'll see. But on the ones that are working, you can definitely see SMCY is killing the bench, beating the benchmark. That's awesome. We'll take that. I mean, assuming the spreadsheet's right, you never know. It looks like Snowy is up when its benchmark is down. AIYY is beating its benchmark. TSOY is beating its benchmark. This is the Menendez brothers today. Everyone's beating their parents, right? It's the Menendez brother report. This gets a two Menendez brother, 2-star Menendez brother rating or whatever. I don't know. All right. 2 shotgun rating. That's a bad joke. All right. I'm just mad because my damn spreadsheet won't work. I mean, and the only thing it won't do is it won't give me the price of SPX. Everything else is working. But that's something that's pretty damn important, right? In addition, it also won't give me the price of AMDY, GUI, XOMO, Aptly, Sky, and Coney. So, I mean, it's not just that, but I mean, I have no freaking idea. If you watch my last report, I detailed my efforts to fix it. All right. So let's see if the index buffer report's working. It actually looks like it is working for the most part. Look at Maxi and Vito blowing up. Let's go look at a chart of Vito. It probably looks about like MSTR. Look at that. That's breaking out to new all-time highs. Wow. Now that's bullish. Bitcoin, or I don't know, new all-time highs, new highs for that chart period. It may not have been new all-time highs. It probably wasn't new all-time highs. Let's get a little perspective. Let's put it out on a day time frame. Yeah, look at that on the daily time frame. They did what I always say is important to establish a trend. Even though the trend's already established by the time it does this signal, lots of times it continues. Sometimes it continues to trend further, but you get a close outside the Bollinger, especially if it's been a while since you've had a close outside. You know, you go 2 weeks with all the closes inside, then you get a close outside, and then another one in that same time frame, this daily in this case, outside the Bollinger Bands in the same direction. It's a key. It's a sign that maybe a trend's going to start. Let's look at a time when that's happened before. Back here, you got this close. By the second close, that's a clue you might be getting a trend. The right here, you got a bearish close and then a second one in the same direction. That's a clue that you might be getting a bearish trend starting. You get false signals all the time. Right there's a false signal. You got one outside and another confirming one. It was not a good signal. So just one of many things to look at. But anyway, this is interesting to me. We'll see if it can. We'll see if it's going to peter like this or if it's going to continue the trend. But obviously, if it continues the trend, that's going to be really good for the market and all these YieldMax stocks because so many of them are attached to the future of Bitcoin and decentralized finance and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's see what else we can look at. Okay, so we looked at Beto, Maxi. So YBTCs is also running off Beto, powered by Beto. All right, some of these don't look like they're working, so I'm going to skip over them. Now let's ULTY killing it. In my last update, I had a ULTY report. As of yesterday, they had 3 kind of exotic option trades on, more than just a covered call, in other words. And I detailed them in the last report. Go watch that and fast forward past the first 5 minutes if you don't want to see me rant about my spreadsheets not working. All right, so ULTY is killing it today. So is YieldMax. That's good to see, and that's because, I mean, like I say, both of those funds have a lot of exposure to decentralized finance and AI and all that kind of stuff, and that kind of stuff's rallying today. So perfect. Look at this one, ZIVB killing it. Okay, so what does that tell us? ZIVB shorts volatility, so that tells us volatility is getting crushed, which of course it is. It started getting crushed yesterday. That's why my system went green right at the end or the beginning of the day. I forget. But anyway, yes, volatility is getting crushed. So the next few days ought to be good times for SVOL and ZIVB. But just like when you get a volatility, pop, ZIVB and SVOL go down more than the market generally, especially ZIVB. They go up a little bit more than the market when the reverse happens. But we're getting volatility crush. It's Friday, so I'm sorry I was wrong about the sell-off. I really thought the sell-off was going to start. I still think there's going to be one before the end of the year, but I thought one was going to start this week. My bad. All right. Look at this. SPY-T catching about 80% of the upside. JEP-I not getting very much upside at all. SPY-I getting about 85% of the upside. XDTE not doing well by comparison today. So let's go look and see if there's a path dependency issue with XDTE. Okay, so they get penalized by gaps down. So I was looking to see if we had a gap down, and we actually did. It's hard to see it, but let me try to see if it was a significant gap. 58.73 to 60, so it's 13-point gap. Sure, yes, ma'am, I do. That'd be great. It's only about a third of a point, but anyway, that comes off the top. Okay, I'm going to go talk to my neighbor. Let me put this on pause a second. Okay. She brought me the paper over. Me being a millennial, I don't read the paper. I'm not really a millennial either. I'm a Gen Xer, but I act like I have millennial habits, and all my friends are millennials. I'm an honorary millennial. All right, but I do like the paper. I do like the paper, and especially the sports page. It's a big weekend in Austin. Freaking Georgia's in town. Think about that. And the Formula One race is in town. That's the biggest football game in the nation, plus Formula One race, plus Eminem. It's going to be crazy. All right, so back to the report. What were we talking about? She interrupted me. I have a hard time keeping my line of thought. As you guys know, we were talking about the gap down. It was just 1/3%, but that it matters a little bit, because what that means, remember, when you're shorting something, you're trying to sell high and buy low, or buy low and sell high. But the short call, covered call part of the spread is the short part of the transaction. A covered call is almost is a long short. And you have a long stock and you have the shorts, the covered call. You put them together and you're still basically long. So we'll look. All I want to show is the size of this morning gap, and it really doesn't look like too much. I don't know, but anyway, XDTE. All that means is XDTE got a little lower price, because if the market gaps down, Defiance sells the night before. So if the market's higher, then it comes down overnight. Defiance locks in at a higher level, and then Round Hill gets the lower price. Okay, the opposite happens lots of days, where the market goes up overnight and Defiance is already locked in at a lower level, and then Round Hill sells higher. So it just goes back and forth. I'd say have a little bit of both. They're both good funds. Or do this if you can. Round Hill doesn't pay as much, but they're a little more efficient on NAV. So if you can afford what Round Hill pays, get Round Hill. If 30% is all right, get Round Hill. If you need more, get Defiance, but it's not without risk. I mean, anyway, I've made multiple videos about it. All right. What else can we get ourselves in the middle of? Let's look at some more YieldMax stuff. Let's go to some YieldMax. The YieldMax buffer report, see what's moving in YieldMax land. I mean, it's Menendez brother day. I mean, everything's beating the parent. Well, okay, Snowy is, SMCY is, and we don't know really, because some of the spreadsheet isn't working. I bet some of these ones that aren't working probably are too. NVIDIA is, that's huge, and Tesla, that is humongous. Big day for YieldMax. All right, guys. I'll be back later with an update at the end of the day. See ya.